I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with spooky Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
Alright, so what are we drinking today?
Well, we're taking a journey over to the great state of Mississippi. Tonight we're going to have Southern Pecan beer. It is brewed and bottled by the Lazy Magnolia Brewing Company, LLC, in Kiln, Mississippi. It's 4.5% alcohol by volume. Let's read the bottle. The only thing it's got to say is that it is the original pecan nut brown ale. Ale brewed with roasted pecans.
I like pecans.
Yeah, it's really good. It gets a 5 out of 10 on the bitterness scale. It doesn't have too many pale undertones to it. It's just really nice, and with that being said, it gets a 9 out of 10 on the smoothness scale. It is quite nice. That 4.5% alcohol by volume just helps it slide right now. With that in mind, it gets an 8 out of 10 overall from me. It's nondescript, something you could drink all day on the beach, and probably not feel much of it for at least an hour. Let's say an hour.
Depends on how quick you drink them.
Yeah, absolutely. And as for the packaging, it's just a normal 6-pack of bottles, not too much crazy about it. It's got really nice contrasting brown and white colors. The name of the beer, that Southern Pecan in all caps, really pops out. That makes your eye get drawn to it. You see it really easily. The bottles are dark with a brown and white label that looks just like the 6-pack of bottles. So again, it just kind of stands out. You will pick it up, and I do recommend picking it up because it's quite nice. Our shot in the dark for tonight, Cathead Honeysuckle Vodka. It's honeysuckle flavored vodka. It's sweet, doesn't have too much of a burn to it. It's actually quite nice.
It smells like rubbing alcohol, though.
Well, it
but
still
all
tastes
vodka
really
does.
good.
It does taste very good.
This is produced and bottled by the Bottle Tree Beverage Company in Jackson, Mississippi. 35% alcohol by volume. Let's read the bottle. It has one quote on the front that says, "Support live music." That's because a portion of the proceeds go to art councils and musician societies around the area. On the back of the bottle, it does have about 3 paragraphs telling the story of how the vodka got its name of Cathead, and tells about the local musicians and the live music and all of that. So I recommend picking that up. I'm not going to sit here and read that to you. This episode would be about 2 hours long. For the ratings, this gets 6 out of 10 on ice. It's actually quite nice. It's not bad whatsoever. It's sweet, like I said earlier. It doesn't have a sharp vodka cut to it. It's really good.
And that's pretty special because Mitch hates vodka.
Hate vodka.
So
Hate
a 6 is a glowing review from this man.
Our cocktail for tonight is called the Strawberry Honeysuckle Sparkler, something we found online. It consists of pureed strawberries mixed with simple syrup and club soda, and it gets a 7 out of 10 from me. It's quite nice too, but do put some ice in it because we tried it warm. Bad decisions. Cathead Honeysuckle Vodka gets a 7 out of 10 overall. For the packaging on it, it's just a normal vodka clear bottle, but it has a white label with a big gold cat head emblem on it. Really stands out on the shelf. You will see this. You will want it. Trust me, it's really good. Go get you some Cathead Honeysuckle Vodka. Leah, do you have any funny place names for us this episode?
I sure do. So the name that I've picked today is Frog Eye, Alabama.
Frog Eye.
Frog Eye.
Okay.
It's in Tallapoosa County. And this is the story that I found for it. Whether it is true or not, I cannot verify, but this is the story that I've seen in multiple places. So years ago, when Prohibition was still the law of the land, there was a saloon in the area, and obviously it was a general store / saloon. So they sold, illegal liquor, obviously. And there was a ceramic frog outside of the building. So if there were people in town that were, basically, if a revenuer was around, they would have the frog's eyes closed. People would know not to ask for the illegal liquor. If the frog's eyes were open,
that's fun.
They would know that it's fine. Bring your money, let's buy some moonshine. So the community became known as Frog Eye from that little ceramic froggy that let you know when it was okay and not okay to buy booze. So appropriate for this show, I do believe.
Right. That's a really good one for the show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one. Mm-hmm. We should put a frog on the front porch.
We keeping its eyes open all the time, or?
Well, I don't want people coming in
You're right.
wanting some alcohol. Okay, Leah, what's our first story for tonight?
All right, our first story comes also from the great state of Mississippi because I like to stay on theme.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It is from Pascagoula, Mississippi, and it is the Pascagoula abduction.
Oh, hello.
You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No, but I figured that it has to do with aliens. If not, it's a kidnapper.
No, it's not a kidnapper. It's definitely aliens.
Okay. Could be an alien kidnapper.
So this is the... I know you don't really know a lot about aliens because you're not a weirdo geek like I am.
I know a lot about ancient aliens.
Well, that's just because I watched that show.
They were at the first Thanksgiving.
I don't think I remember that episode, but all right.
No, they were.
No, all right. So this is known as like the second most famous UFO abduction case after the Betty and Barney Hill case of 1961.
Don't know that one either.
You have no idea about
I can't
them
wait
either.
till we get to it.
Well, that was like in the north, and we can't really talk about it here. But
Well, we'll give
whatever.
We'll link people.
So yeah, so this is like the southern version of that.
Okay.
So it happened in 1973. So a guy named Charles Hickson, he was 42 years old at the time, and his co-worker, I guess, is what I've seen. They don't really explain that very well.
Struggled with coworker?
Yeah, co-worker, friend.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Acquaintance.
Anyway, but he was 19, and that was weird to me. But
Who was 19? The
the
coworker?
kid, the co-worker. They were working at a shipyard, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
The details are not great online. I'm sorry. So this 19-year-old's name was Calvin Parker Jr. So these two, in October of 1973, October the 11th to be precise, they went fishing on the banks of the Pascagoula River, like you do. And while they were just fishing and drinking whiskey, because also what you do while you're fishing,
Right.
they started to hear this zipping noise, which I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, this is an alien kidnapper.
Yes.
Because that sounds like his fly. It's just coming right down. That sounds like...
I don't think it's
Zip?
that kind of zipper, but like zip, 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 zip.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't explained very well, but anyway, they heard this zipping sound, and then they encountered a glowing object in the sky, but shot in the dark.
Oh, goodness, here we go.
What kind of UFO was it?
What kind of UFO?
Yeah, was it A, a saucer-shaped craft, B, an oblong-shaped craft, or C, a triangle-shaped craft?
The thing is,
Pick a shape.
either
pick a
you
shape.
and I talked about strange-shaped crafts recently,
Yeah.
or I read something on Reddit or something,
Yeah.
where someone was talking about it being shaped like a hot dog.
What? I think it was a cigar.
It might have been a cigar.
Yeah,
Were we
cigar
talking
shaped is
about
pretty
that?
standard for a UFO. I don't
That's
think we
standard.
were. No, like I mean, there's a couple of different types
It's a standard UFO.
No,
Cigar.
no. There are a couple of different types of UFOs if you're into ufology, because I'm that weird kid.
Ufology.
That is what you call it.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of different standard types of craft that supposedly different species of aliens pilot.
Okay.
So you've got your saucer-shaped craft, so a standard UFO. You've got like a cigar-shaped or oblong in this
Oblong.
particular case. You've got that triangle-shaped craft, which is like the triangle lights in the sky.
Right.
You've got...
I've seen those. Saw a video
yeah,
of that.
then there's like orbs and all sorts of other
Right.
stuff, you know. But the three different types are, you know, basically saucer, oblong, triangle.
Okay, so you're giving me a very general
Broad,
question
general question.
here. Okay, I'm going classic saucer.
You're wrong! Shot, 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 shot.
Don't do that. We're gonna have to
Sorry.
cut that because it's not licensed.
Yeah, but I don't sing well enough for it to count as a license
Yeah.
infringement.
They're gonna listen to it and go, "Oh no, she's oh honey."
Oh,
They're gonna go,
sweetheart.
You know what? You can have this.
You
one.
can just keep it.
Let me load it up. Here comes the cat head.
Here comes the cat head. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, you keep fucking us up with the licensed songs.
Sorry.
This
I'll
episode's
stop.
going in the garbage.
I'll stop. I apologize.
Bitch.
Once
I'm really
again, no infringement intended.
I'm gonna take this shot and I'm gonna wash it down with some Southern Pecan.
Woo.
All right, first shot in the dark. Here we go.
Yas. He took that one like a champ.
That's not bad.
Was it good?
No, it wasn't good. But that wasn't bad.
We're too old to be taking
God,
shots.
I'm gonna throw up. Not on mic, I won't. Oh, yeah, that's awful. Okay.
You good?
Yep.
You good?
All right. So what was it?
It was an oblong-shaped craft.
See, I should have
That cigar shape. And
were
actually,
we talking about that? Was that
we
when you-
were, but it was about the one in Texas, the Pearl in Texas thing that you and I were talking about. Anyway.
Okay. I believe you.
Okay,
God,
so
that was awful.
all right, so it was, like we have concluded, an oblong-shaped craft that they saw in the distance hovering just above the ground. So they saw, lights, zipping noise, glowing. Just imagine it. And they saw
I'm imagining.
the craft opened, I assume. They didn't really explain how the aliens got out, but I assume, it was either like tractor beam style or some kind of opening ship. I don't know. Anyway, so 3 of these aliens come out. They are described as robot-like, which didn't really make sense to me because they never really described it further, but it was like
okay.
just robot-like.
You know what? They were probably robots, brother.
Robot-like aliens were coming out of the craft, and so they were gray humanoids. So they were gray, and they sort of looked like a human, but they weren't. They were just over 5 feet tall, and nobody else has ever reported this kind of alien like this ever again, or before that. It's just nobody's ever seen these things before or since.
They were just drinking whiskey?
Just whiskey, reportedly. So these aliens didn't have a neck at all.
No neck?
No neck.
I
So
had a
it was
teacher
just...
that had no neck.
I barely have a neck.
She
Let's
was
be real.
also gray and robot-like. So
Uh-oh. We found her.
We found her.
Sorry.
In 1973.
Yeah. So they only had slits for eyes and a mouth. But they had noses and ears, which most aliens that you see nowadays don't have the nose and the ears. They've got the big eyes, the little mouth, the weird head. But these have like slits for eyes, a little slit for a mouth, and this big old pointy nose and big old pointy ears. Just like sharply pointed protrusions is how they were listed in the article that I read.
They were elves.
Yeah, I mean, but like with their big old, more like a goblin, I guess. Like the Harry Potter goblins, the big old pointy nose, the big old pointy ears.
The Gringotts.
Yeah, but they were like 5 feet tall and gray and robot-like.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll
These
take your
guys
word
were
for it.
tripping. But anyway.
Yeah,
So, and then they
awesome.
had clawed hands. So, like pincers.
Like lobster claws? They were crab people.
Yeah, they were crab people.
They're crab people.
Oh, yeah. And their legs weren't really jointed like people legs. They sort of just glided, I guess.
Like roller skates?
Kind of.
They were
But
crab
like,
people on roller skates?
I don't think roller skates is the best way because there's no wheels, but they just sort of glided.
Hoverboards.
Sure, let's call it hoverboards. But anyway, so
If we can't license music, we definitely can't license Back to the Future too.
you're right.
So
You're right.
I'm going to cut out hoverboards.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But the 2 men claimed that they were taken aboard this spaceship, the oblong spaceship that was glowing, of
The
course.
wiener.
Yeah. Well, cigar. I don't think wiener is appropriate. Anyway.
Okay. We might cut that.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, where they were examined. So they didn't really say how they were examined or what happened to them when they were in the spaceship. Those details are a little fuzzy. But my guess is there was some kind of like weird probe.
Yeah, that sounds sexual.
It does. But they, after they were done being examined, quotation marks, they were just returned to their fishing site. Just all willy-nilly. Just, done with you.
Did the
Drop you
aliens
back
take
off.
their whiskey?
I don't think so.
Well,
So
they don't know what they were doing.
they were a little freaked out, to say the least, and they got back in their car to regain their composure, at which point the older dude might have been drinking more whiskey.
I was confused.
Who knows?
I was very concerned right there for a second.
What?
I didn't know what you were going to get at.
No.
At which point the older dude then examined the younger dude.
No, nothing like that. There was
not.
nothing creepy going on between them as far as has been reported. No, they were just drinking whiskey. Anyway, so they were like, okay, this was weird. We should probably go tell somebody. So they went to the sheriff's office and they were like, okay, guys, let us tell you what happened to us. So they were like, oh, that's freaking weird. But at any rate, they reported it.
Thanks, guys. That's pretty weird.
No.
Y'all seem very drunk. You can leave now.
No, it was a little bit more involved than that. Basically, it was sort of a sensational thing, but the sheriffs were like, okay, these guys believe they've seen something. Now, there were other reports of UFO sightings in the area on that same night, but none around the place where they were at.
Were they all cigar-shaped?
No, actually. The UFOs were described. Some saw a helicopter-like object, which just, to me, sounds like that some podunk hick just was like, oh my god, it's a helicopter.
Yeah, that sounds like
way
they
out
saw
here.
a helicopter.
Yeah.
What do you mean? A helicopter-like thing. That
It
sounds
just
like a
says
helicopter.
They saw a helicopter-like object. One person reported what they thought was an experimental spacecraft from the Air Force Base. Which, I mean, could have just been
another
a plane.
helicopter.
Yeah, I mean...
It's just two helicopters. Or you know what? It was probably the same helicopter. Just seen by multiple things. And they didn't know that the Air Force Base is now employing hot dog-shaped helicopters.
Well...
That just sounds like a helicopter. A helicopter's hot dog-shaped.
No,
It just dawned on me. It is.
What
from a
kind of hot
distance.
dogs have you been eating?
Have you ever looked at a helicopter without your glasses on?
I have
You
not.
might see a floating hot dog.
Well, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, yeah, it was probably just a helicopter. But anyway, technically there were more UFO sightings in the area on that night, so just done. So when this story came out, it caused a little flap. People were like, oh my god.
A flap.
A flap.
A Mississippi
A
flap.
Mississippi flap.
Y'all don't even want to know if you don't live in Mississippi.
Oh, we do not live in Mississippi.
No, I know, but I know what a Mississippi flap is.
Alright. So there are people on both sides of it, obviously. The UFO believer folk came in, like, just rushing in, just decided, to come in and investigate on their own. So there's this guy named J. Allen Hynek from the Center for UFO Studies.
I like that name.
Yeah, it's a pretty great name. I've heard him in a lot of different documentaries being named as the guy that comes out and talks to people about this. So apparently he's legit.
He's the expert on the hot dog whiskey UFOs.
And then a guy called James Hardner from the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, or the APRO, who I've also heard a lot about. So
the APRO.
The APRO.
The APRO.
So they both rushed to interview the guys in question. They tried to hypnotize them, but apparently, they just couldn't.
They tried to hypnotize them.
They did. They tried to do, hypnotic regression, to, remember more stuff that, what happened on the craft and stuff like that. But apparently that didn't work because reasons. And,
reasons.
Yeah,
I believe that I heard that you have to have a high IQ to be able to be hypnotized. And it sounds like these guys might have a little bit of an issue there.
Uh-oh. The one time that I've been at a hypnotist show, I could not be hypnotized, so maybe I'm dumb.
I didn't say that.
Ruh-roh. Anyway.
Let's just remember that I gave you the facts that you needed.
I drew my own conclusions. This is not you being a jerk.
Right.
All right.
You cannot blame me for this.
I mean, I can, but I'm not going to.
We realize things about ourselves as we get older.
Yeah, understandably so. So they tried to hypnotize them. It didn't work. But they did conclude that they had a real extraterrestrial sighting. There was some kind of phenomena involved. That Hynek guy believed that they had, at very least, a real frightening experience, which... I mean, maybe they were drunk and saw a helicopter. I mean, that would be a real frightening experience.
It sounds an awful lot like they had a whiskey-induced blurred vision.
Yeah, and there was a helicopter. I thought so too, but anyway. So the sheriff's department thought that they were telling the truth as well. And so the older guy, Mr. Hickson, requested to have a lie detector test. So they had hired this agent person to basically publicize their abduction story or whatever.
Okay.
To go around and do interviews and stuff like that for the news media outlets, all of that. So they arranged to have a lie detector test, and they, took the lie detector test, or he took a lie detector test. He passed it.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, but some of the, skeptical people were like, oh, that guy does not know how to do a lie detector test. Maybe we should get a professional in here to do a lie detector test. And the guy was like, no, I'm good. I've passed one.
No,
Maybe we're not going to do, a police-sanctioned lie detector test. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then the kid, Parker, had a little bit of a mental breakdown at that point in time, and he was briefly put in the hospital for a while because I don't think he could really handle all of the press and stuff that went along with being an abductee.
That went along with being molested by aliens.
Yeah, so like I said, there's a UFO skeptic named Philip J. Klass who was really hard on these guys.
What a name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
What a name.
But he was the one that was like, you know what, that polygraph operator was kind of crappy. Maybe you should get one done by someone that was an expert in it. He was also dogging him about how their story sort of changed over the years of them telling it. So, they originally said, the creatures have slits for eyes and mouths, but they later said there was a hole for a mouth instead of a slit, which...
Oh.
I mean, I don't
they
know
can
the difference.
The slit,
I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, that's a little much, but...
Did the aliens not talk to them at all while
no,
they were
they talked to him in their mind. So it was one of those, mind-to-mind... Exactly, a telepathic kind of alien
that makes
creature.
Sense. I mean, as anyone knows, if an alien actually shows up, it's going to communicate
It's gonna be a telepathic alien.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, so basically, that guy thinks it's all a hoax. So there's been a lot of back and forth over the years. Obviously, some people are gung-ho thinking this is the real deal. These people were abducted. It is crazy. And then other people are like, this is not real. And the the theories that they offer up of what actually happened was that they think that they went into a hypnagogic trance, like a hypnagogic state.
Tell the people at home what hypnagogic means.
So, they were in this weird-ass trance, probably brought on by the whiskey. So...
I think that's called being drunk.
No.
I mean...
I read a lot about hypnagogic states, but it's basically being in a waking dream. So it's like having sleep paralysis, but you're awake for the whole thing. So you sort of dream while you're awake. So there's hallucinations and imagery, and it's really common for people that have hypnagogic states to see aliens and ghosts and monsters and that kind of thing. And it's really
like a lucid dream.
Yeah, but while you're awake. Exactly. Right. And so that's a really common thing for people that have that problem. And then the only reason that they're a little bit weird about that is because, I mean, the younger kid didn't really experience that, or, you know what I mean? Like, two people in a hypnagogic state at the same time. Well, basically they said that kid passed out initially, from the whiskey, I guess. I don't know.
From boozing.
I guess. And then this guy had that hypnagogic state, and then they both woke up and were like, oh, shit, something happened.
Yeah, and the old guy's like, you didn't remember?
You didn't remember that alien?
You don't remember that alien playing with your butthole?
So,
and it was just the old guy.
They didn't say anything about a butthole.
Diddling. I mean, come on.
They didn't.
Yeah, they wanted this, save face later.
So, yeah, but that's, the main theory of the skeptics out there is that, that guy had some kind of weird trance-like state and then dreamed this all up, and then the kid woke up and was like, oh, yeah, all right. But then...
But that was his actual reaction. Oh, yeah. Sounds
cool.
Like it probably happened.
I mean, it could have happened. Yeah. But then the people that are all gung-ho thinking this is a real thing point to the evidence that
Let's in quotes
evidence, yes, that they were both placed when they went to the sheriff's office the first time. They were placed in a holding chamber before they could talk to, whoever was on duty to take down the report. Well, those rooms were being filmed, and they didn't know that they were being recorded. So there's recordings of them just talking about, holy crap, what just happened to us. And
Can we
it wasn't
see those
like
recordings? Can we watch them?
I don't know. I think it's an audio only kind of thing. And I'm sure for the people that are interested, they probably can find it, but I was not that interested. I mean, I'm interested, but I'm not like, I'm not going to Pascagoula and being all like, y'all, I need to know.
But I was not that interested.
I mean, it's interesting,
awesome.
But I'm lazy. You know me.
I know.
So apparently in these tapes, it's not like, okay, we're going to say this to the sheriff and then we're going to say this. It's just them saying, I mean, the aliens, they were like gray and short and they didn't have necks. And I mean, yeah, they were the necks. And do you remember what happened? And this is this and that is that. And it didn't sound conspiratorial. It just seemed like people in shock talking about what just happened. Mm-hmm. So the believers sort of point to that as being, if they were really up to something, they would have been in there, not knowing that they were being recorded, saying, okay, so when he asks you this, we're going to say, pointy ears, pointy nose, Yeah.
Pointy ears, pointy nose.
Yeah. So, basically that's the story. Two guys, while they were fishing, either went into a weird hypnotic trance from the booze, or they got abducted by aliens.
Okay. I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
It's not so much about the story.
Yeah.
It more has to do with... Well, let's talk about the causes of what I have here. Mm-hmm. I take notes during the story so that I have stuff to talk about after them.
Uh-huh.
I've had, I want to say 3 of these Southern Pecan beers. I had that shot of Cathead. One of the cocktails. I've had one of the cocktails on ice. One of the Catheads on ice.
You've had a lot of booze, my friend.
I have to ask you this. Because in my notes, I have written here, hovering wiener. I know why. Because it's the hot dog thing.
Yeah.
But I just want to know why. It's the first thing I have, too. The only other thing I have is robot-like gray humanoids.
Uh-huh.
So, I started taking notes.
Yeah.
And then
you forgot.
Very quickly stopped.
Yeah.
After hovering wiener.
Uh-huh.
So
what's the question?
There isn't one. I wanted to just talk about how
you're a
hovering wiener
perv that can't focus.
How's
I don't.
That perv? That's
hovering wiener. Really? Of all the things that we just talked about, you stick to hovering wiener.
Oh, I stick to hovering wiener. All right. You know what? I think the best thing for us is to move on.
All right.
We're going to go for story 2. You got one ready for us?
I sure do.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope there's some good shit in this one. Go ahead.
All right. So this next story is also from Mississippi. It's on the Natchez Trace Parkway.
Way to stay on topic.
Yeah. It's a little north of Houston. It's an area called Witch Dance.
Houston, Mississippi?
Houston, Mississippi.
There's a Houston, Mississippi?
There sure is. There's a Houston, everywhere. There's a Houston, Alabama. Come on.
know about There's a Houston County, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Houston is everywhere. Anyway.
I'm off topic.
It's called Witch Dance, Mississippi.
Witch Dance?
Witch Dance.
I am writing that motherfucker down. Witch Dance, site of hovering wiener.
No, the hovering wiener was in Pascagoula.
My bad. We're moving on.
All right.
I'm sorry.
In Witch Dance, the reason that I first heard about this story is that I am mildly obsessed with Catherine Tucker Wyndham. She's a folklorist from Selma, Alabama.
Oh.
She wrote a ton of books that are just absolutely fantastic. Her books were the first things that got me into weird stuff, like spooky, paranormal, ghost stories, that kind of thing. I'm glad you
explained. I was going to ask what the weird stuff is.
Yeah, creepy stuff.
Okay.
You know the kind of stuff that I'm into.
I
just
do.
Weird, creepy, strange stuff.
I do, and I can't wait for others to find out.
Yeah, so she wrote a book called 13 Alabama Ghosts and Jeffrey, which was the first, ghost story book that I ever read.
I saw that movie. 13 Ghosts with Tony Shalhoub.
That is not
Monk?
the same thing.
I'm
Although I
pretty
do
sure.
love that movie. Not
That's a
the
great
same
movie.
thing.
It's also got, what's that guy's? Is it Matthew Lillard from Summer Catch?
I have not seen either of those things.
Yes, you did. Just forget it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, so she also wrote a book.
She wrote a boat.
She wrote a boat.
She wrote a boat. She wrote it all the way to Pascagoula.
No, she wrote a book called 13 Mississippi Ghosts and Jeffrey. So this story was in 13 Mississippi Ghosts and Jeffrey.
Jeffrey is in both places?
Well, Jeffrey is the spirit that lives in her home.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in
it's-
her, and I was about to get real upset.
No, not in her. She's not possessed. It's the spirit that lives in her home. She grew up in
Okay.
a haunted house. So that's her ghost. She knows Jeffrey, and all of her books generally, I guess there's a few that don't, but she's got 13 Mississippi ghosts, Alabama ghosts, Georgia ghosts, which you'll hear a lot from Miss Wyndham because I love her.
Oh, Miss Wyndham. How we
She's
hardly
amazing.
knew you.
She is amazing. So
So
this
many
one,
strawberry seeds at the bottom of this cocktail.
I'm sorry. So
on
this
my teeth.
one, calm down. This one came from 13 Mississippi Ghosts. So, according to Miss Wyndham, Witch Dance got its name from the old stories about, along the Natchez Trace, witches would hold nighttime ceremonies. They would get together and
Well, tell
do
me.
whatever kind of witch stuff that they do, like
Tell me. Dance?
sacrificing and spelling and chanting and all that stuff, and they
Okay.
would dance around fires and stuff when they're doing their ceremonies, like witches do apparently.
Yeah. I've been.
Yeah.
Right. We've all been to a witch dance.
Like witches do. They went out and danced, apparently. So it said that anywhere the witches' feet touched the ground while they were dancing, the grass withered away and never grew back. So there are bare spots all in this area that have been bare for, decades, I guess, centuries. That apparently still to this day don't have anything growing on them. They're just red Mississippi clay.
Oh.
Nothing in them. There's grass around them. It's a really pretty park and camping area now. It's really gorgeous country. There's a bike trail, apparently.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
You turn the dead... oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. You turn the dead grass into a tourist attraction.
Well, I mean, there's grass around all of the bare spots. Because they don't, shuffle their feet. These witches are leaping and dancing. So there's bare spots
So
all
they're
over the
floating.
place.
They're floating
Yeah.
in between spots.
I mean-
and dancing. Doing a
Well, I
little
mean, there's
jig.
bare spots here and there. But
Right.
it's not like a barren wasteland.
It just sounds like they're not taking care of their grass.
I mean, yeah, probably. And it gets real hot in Mississippi in the summer, so things
Yeah, it
die.
does.
I mean, whatever. At any rate, the witches are dancing, the spots are going bare, and it became sort of a thing in that area that you're not supposed to step on the spots because the witches will haunt you. They'll curse you. There's creepiness in them there woods.
In them there bare spots.
So,
There's creepiness.
you're not supposed to step on the bare spots, basically, or you'll be haunted and cursed. And people say that in that area of the woods you can hear witches cackling and ghosts and hauntings, and it's just spooky AF, bro, in that area.
All right.
I mean,
It sounds hipster now.
those are my words and not
It
Catherine's.
sounds
Don't
like
get me wrong.
it sounds like everybody tiptoeing around these bare spots is wearing plaid and has a beard. And is drinking 2 PBRs at once that were opened at the bar.
Have you ever been to Mississippi? I mean,
No.
you just described Mississippi.
That's the entirety. We're gonna open a bar in our hometown, and we're gonna just name it Mississippi, and it's just gonna be a hipster bar. We will only serve PBR in the bottle, no draft.
Well, there are no bars in our hometown, so I'm sure we would get
That's why we're
business.
opening one. We're
Yeah.
gonna name it Mississippi.
All right, so basically, though, in the 19th century, when this story is taking place, 19th century, you do the math because I don't want to. Basically, this entire area was just completely covered with outlaws and bandits and thieves and just
Pirates?
No,
Yar.
no. Pirates are a little more coastal than that. This is
Cathead came up.
the Natchez Trace runs through Mississippi, up through a corner of Alabama into Tennessee. So like, there are no pirates there. I'm sorry.
I mean, there could be some Somalis.
No. Not at this point in time.
Okay,
So they were basically, the people around there were like me a little freaked out about the grass spots, but they were really actually freaked out about being stabbed and robbed.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I would be a little bit more freaked out about being stabbed.
Pirates carry swords.
Anyway, so our first little story around the story is that there was, well, she calls him a brigand, which I really like that word.
A brigand?
A brigand.
A brigadier?
So, no pirates, remember? So this
sure.
bad guy, basically, his name is Big Harp.
Big Harp?
Big Harp.
Big Harp.
So Big Harp was a bloodthirsty outlaw. He liked to stab and slash and steal and rape and kill and all that fun stuff because he's a real bad guy.
Had me until the rape.
Sorry.
I was with it until then.
I know.
What an asshole.
So when he got into this area of witch dance, apparently he had an Indian god, which I don't know why all of these people seem to have an Indian god in these stories.
Native
like
American
it just,
god.
You're right. You're
Please.
right.
Thank
Excuse me. It seems a little weird and convenient, but anyway, he was like, "Look, dude, witch spots. Don't step on them. It's a problem."
Look, dude. Yeah, fucking hipster Indian god.
I apologize.
Look, dude. Don't worry about my beard. Just don't step
on the bare
witch
spots. Yeah. Well, Big Harp wasn't having any of that. He was real brave and bold and was like, "Look, I don't care about your spots. I don't care about your witches. I'm going to dance on these spots myself." So he leaped from spot to spot and he dared those witches to come out and fight him.
He floated like the witches?
Well, I mean,
He just kind of floated from spot to spot?
No, like they're close together ones and far apart ones. Like
Yeah.
in the area. He was
And
just
the far ones
he was
floated
just
to.
dancing on the
I
spots.
think Big Harp's a witch.
No, because he wanted to fight the witches. Remember?
Ooh.
He was daring them to fight him.
He's a daring individual.
Yeah. So, like, nothing happened to him there. And he just, like, went back to Kentucky because that's where he was from.
He's from Kentucky?
He was.
What's
Big
he doing
Harp.
over there?
I don't know. So, apparently, though,
Sorry.
apparently, though, the curse of the witch spots followed him. So he went back to Kentucky where he was from, but only after he had stabbed a woman and her baby to death in a robbery.
Okay. Alright. Hold on.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to stop. Episode's over. We're going to entitle this Stabbed a Woman and Baby to Death.
After he robbed them. Yes.
After he robbed them.
Yes.
Why did he rob them, though? He had enough money to hire a Native American hipster. Why did he rob them?
Well, he needed
Because he
more.
was being haunted?
No, I think just because he was a jerk.
Oh.
He was just a mean guy. He liked to stab and shoot and pillage.
Nobody had a good thing to say about Big Harp.
Apparently not.
You know, it got around town real quick.
Yeah. So he stabbed and killed this lady and her baby, and so he went back to Kentucky. But the woman's husband was waiting on him there.
Kentucky?
Yes, in Kentucky. Because apparently he was pissed off that Big Harp stabbed his wife and baby.
Why? What's the deal, man? Let it go. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I would be a little mad if someone stabbed my wife and baby.
Well, I think I'd just move on.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the witch spot thing coming.
Yeah. Well, turns out
No.
this posse rounded him up. And there was a posse, and the husband of the lady that he stabbed decapitated him while he was like, I mean, he didn't like knock him out and then cut off his head. He was just like, "Oh, he's here and I'm cutting his head off like right now."
Big Harp?
Yeah.
He just lost his head?
He cut off his head and he nailed it to a tree.
What? How? What?
I have no
How do
idea.
you nail a head to a tree? Like through the eyes?
I don't know.
No, you gotta have some details
No
about
one
that.
says. That's just it's, and they the sentence is, and they nailed it to a tree.
Well, like, Okay.
It could have been through the ear. They could have put the nail on and tied the hair
How
around.
long is the nail?
I don't know.
Come on now.
I know.
We need something like, did they tie his hair in a knot and just like
Hang
loop
it
the
up.
hair? Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. But I mean, like, there's so many different ways. But like, that's
there
not.
has to be a long nail.
Yeah, if it's going through the forehead or something.
Yeah.
But
No, they scotch taped it up. Just like they used double-sided tape. They command stripped it to the fence.
yeah,
Or wherever it was.
well, it was a tree.
Tree.
But they nailed it to a
Used the
tree.
tree for the fence.
Yeah, they nailed it to a tree.
Okay.
I don't know how they nailed it to a tree, but they nailed it to a tree.
All right.
So-
nailed it to a tree. Let me write that down.
Yes. The tree has the head on it, and it's left out there in the sun, and it gets bleached down to a white skull that is apparently still on or around the tree.
No, like right now?
No, we're about to talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me keep going.
That's my fault.
So it's still
Yes.
like a sun-bleached white skull. But the shot in the dark is, what happened to the skull?
No, son of a bitch. Let me load it up. Look, I'm not as excited this time. I'm sorry.
Well,
What
I had
happened
to do
the
both
skull?
shots last time, so
There
I'm
was a-
really hoping.
There's a fucking nail drilled through it.
Alright, so what happened to this skull?
Oh, God.
Did someone A, make it into a skull cup?
Skull cup.
Did someone B, leave it in the tree as a warning to other bandits?
I got Cathead on my note sheet.
Or C, was it stolen by a witch?
What was B again?
B, was it remained in the tree as a warning to other bandits?
Would we count Big Harp as a bandit? He just sounded like an
Yes.
asshole, though.
You can be both.
No, I mean, I know that
I think it's required that you're both
I
if
know
you're
that
a
you said
bandit.
at the beginning he was, like a roving bandit.
He was a brigand, is the
A brigand.
word.
Right, a brigadier. I remember now.
No, he's not a pirate.
I remember. Right. But. Alright.
Just pick
I
pick
know
an
that these
answer.
people believed in witches.
Yes.
So that's why I'm going to say C.
C.
Yeah, the witch thing. It was stolen by witches.
Fuck.
Yeah! I don't have to drink it now. You
Alright.
enjoy this.
Give
Don't spill it on your
it.
notes like I did. Be careful now. You got something to wash it down with?
More vodka.
More vodka? Hey, perfect.
I think I got some water right here.
You're going to want something else.
Okay. I got this. Ready?
Oh, I'm not the one waiting.
Whew. Okay. Shots. Okay.
To pump yourself up?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's actually kind of nice.
Right? It's not bad. It's not good, again, but it's not bad.
I mean, I don't like shots because they burn, but that one is a less burny burn, and it's a really nice taste. That honeysuckle
really good.
is so good.
Right, it helps it out. It's just that eventually the honeysuckle taste leaves your mouth, and then
And
you
then
get the
it's-
vodka burn
it's
in the back of
vodka,
your
yeah.
throat. But, I got to burp. Excuse me.
Like, but that's a classy flavored vodka. It's not like a...
Classy is a stretch.
It is, but it's not like a
There it
cake
was.
vodka that's
Excuse
like
me.
super sweet. It's just like that hint of honeysuckle. I like it.
Yeah, it is pretty good. And the fact that it's only 35% alcohol, that helps it a lot.
Yeah,
It makes it a little bit smoother.
I like it.
It's not pure grain alcohol or anything.
We're-
No, this is definitely the better vodka of the two we've had so far.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, yes, it was stolen by a witch.
But now we need some context.
Okay.
Because who's the fucking witch? How do we know she's a witch?
So, according to Catherine Tucker Wyndham's story, hold on.
No, just do it on mic. I try to move away, but they're just so powerful.
So there was an old hill woman.
An old hill woman.
That's what it says. There was an old hill woman who had a reputation for being a witch. She pulled the skull down,
Right
ground it into a fine powder.
My new character, Old Hill Woman. Go ahead.
She took the skull down, she ground it into a fine powder, and she used it in a potion to cure her nephew's fit.
His fit?
Well, they called like epilepsy fits, like
Oh, so he was having an epileptic
he was having
fit.
seizures.
That's
yes.
still a term that's used.
Yeah,
Ground
he was having
into a
seizures.
powder to use for his fit.
his fit.
It sounded like he had ADHD. And she was like, calm the fuck down.
Calm the fuck down.
Here's some skull powder.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like, skull powder, like, bone remains, especially of, like, hanged criminals and stuff. Hung criminal? I don't know.
No.
Criminal.
No. The very hung criminals who were hanged.
I just had a shot of vodka. I'm a little slow right now. Excuse me.
No. Hung is right. I just wanted you to sound like you were talking about big dicks on criminals.
You need to calm down, sir.
I apologize.
Yeah, so that, like bone as medicine was sort of a thing then. So it wasn't, like, weird that she did it, but, I mean, it was a little weird that she did it.
Yeah, well, it's not weird, but it's weird.
So, that story traveled back down the trace, and people told that story over and over, and it got back that, he was cursed by those witch dance spots. He shouldn't have danced on those witch dance spots. Mm-hmm. I mean, he also shouldn't have stabbed the lady and her baby. I mean, I think that had more to do with it than the witch spots.
That had nothing to do with it. No. I mean, nobody's going to know about the thing.
Yeah. But anyway, so it is said that he still haunts that area, like the whole Natchez Trace, but particularly Witch Dance, because that's his undoing. Yeah, Big Harp.
Big Harp's the ghost?
You can still hear him maniacally cackling in the bushes and the trees after someone tells the tale.
What does his cackle sound like?
I don't know.
I want to know Big Harp's cackle.
Well, let's go tell that story in Witch Dance.
Fuck dude.
It's not far from here. Let's do it.
Let's do an on location.
In Witch Dance.
Okay. About Big Harp, and we're going to record his supposed cackle.
Well, I mean, they also say that witches cackle in the trees too, so maybe it's a witch instead. I don't know.
Witches cackle in the trees.
Okay, so there are other things that have happened in Witch Dance. There was another bandit named Joseph Thompson Hare.
H-A-R-E?
H-A-R-E. Oh. He was from Philadelphia, but he came south because he wanted to rob people. Because the Natchez Trace was called, like, the Devil's Backbone because there were so many just assholes, apparently, that wanted to rob you real bad.
It sounds easy.
Yeah.
He came down to rob, and it's like, I mean...
The article that I read literally says he came south to pursue a career as a robber along the trace.
Oh. Well, here's a question.
Don't you want to pursue a career as a robber?
You pursue a career as a robber.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, do you go to school for that?
I don't think so. I think that's, like, maybe GED level. Yeah.
Well.
So according to the legend...
Do you need a GED for that? Do you have to take the test?
Not. Probably.
I mean, you have to take the robber test, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, is there more that goes into it?
So, according to the legend, there was another Native American guide, because there's always a Native American guide.
Was it the same one?
No, this one actually has a name.
No. I'm getting into this. Stop.
All right.
Stop. It's the same one, and he's a fucking witch, too.
He's not a witch.
He's a goddamn voodoo guy. And he's just if we go and get an Indian guide, okay, we would get a Native American guide.
Yes.
First of all. But it'd be the same motherfucker, and he would lead us through, and we would rob and kill a baby and her child.
No.
And then we'd have our we'd have our head hung up.
See, it's harder than it sounds, right?
Oh, it's awful.
Thank you. Tenses are a problem when you've been drinking. Especially when you're Southern like we are. No, we know this is a different Native American god because he actually has a name in this part of the story.
It's the same one. He just named himself.
No, his name is Hayfoot.
Okay, like...
Because...
Okay.
I mean, you know his name wasn't Hayfoot. White people just can't say Native American words.
No.
And he was like, okay, my name is something really special and beautiful in my language, but you know what? You can't say it because you're a silly white guy, so I'm going to call myself Hayfoot.
Like what cows eat? Or like Hayfoot?
No, Hayfoot. Hayfoot.
Like what cows eat.
Yeah, what cows eat. Hayfoot.
He's a foot of hay.
Yes. So he told this Joseph Thompson Hare about Witch Dance, and Hare was like, oh, this is serious. I am not going to step on those spots. Oh. Because he was smarter than Big Harp.
He sounds much smart. He sounds like he was educated.
Like he
came to pursue the career.
Well, I mean,
he didn't just thrust himself into it.
He was from Philadelphia,
right.
So he was a little bit...
He'd had some schooling.
Northern education kind of thing.
He'd had some culture.
He was a city boy.
And some schooling.
Yeah.
And he was ready.
Yeah, so he was like, okay, totally not going to step on those witch spots because I don't want to end up like Big Harp, because that was a problem.
Harpy Harp.
Yeah. So, I mean, that didn't deter him from being a robber and a vandal, because that's what he had come to do. He was pursuing his career as a robber.
That's upsetting.
So he was just doing that, but without like stepping on the spots. So a few years after he was told by Hayfoot about this whole thing, he was robbing these people, and as he made his getaway, he spied a white horse in his path. Yeah.
All right.
As he grew near the horse, so he's like getting away.
Near the horse?
Well, like he was riding, I guess.
Yeah, that's my
And he was
fault.
going towards the white horse. The animal just vanished into thin air. And so he was like, oh, that's freaking weird. And he told this story over and over and over and over and over again until he died in 1818. So apparently that's a big thing in that area. So the sort of apparitions of these white animals, specifically a white mare.
So that happens a lot.
Apparently.
Do we think that white mare is Big Harp?
No. I don't think so.
I'm hoping.
That's just another sort of spectral happening in the area.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are also, which, I mean, I think it's kind of unrelated. I don't know. But there are also, like burial mounds, Native American, like Chickasaw burial grounds in the area called the Bynum Mounds, which...
The Bynum Mounds?
Well, obviously it's from the white guy that was like, oh, these are mounds. My name's Bynum. These are the Bynum Mounds.
Hey, I'm Greg Bynum. I'm going to name this
has been...
after myself.
Like I was going to say, these are...
All you hipster Native Americans, fuck off.
These
This
mounds
is
that
Greg
were
Bynum's
created in the Paleolithic era by, like, indigenous people. You know, screw that. We're not going to call it by what they call themselves. We're going to call them the Bynum Mounds.
The Bynum Mounds.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of folklore around those as well. And they're, like I said, just a little ways away from that area. So there's a lot of folklore and weirdness, and people are generally creeped out because there's burial mounds in the area too. So there's a lot of reports of spectral apparitions and orbs and EVPs that you can record when you're out there.
Tell the folks at home what EVPs are.
An EVP is an electronic voice phenomena. So when your little ghost hunter people are out there with their little digital voice recorders, if they're talking and then you can't actually audibly hear it, but when you play it back, you can hear something go, hey, you and
Like
they're
the
like,
Sixth Sense.
oh, it said you're a dick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we heard it. If we play it in reverse.
yeah. So
At
that's
double
what
speed.
that's what an EVP is. So go to YouTube, look it up. There's a lot of really interesting stuff from the area. But
Y'all heard?
honestly, I'd like to go to the area just to go visit, like,
We'll go.
the mounds.
We'll go do it on
I think
location.
that'd be fun.
We'll do a live podcast outside in a tent. Not live. Live is
That
a
would be
stretch.
weird.
We can't
Yeah.
stream from the Bynum Mounds.
I don't know how good the Wi-Fi is there.
We could try.
I don't know about that. But so that is the story of Witch Dance, Mississippi.
Well, that is quite a story.
It is.
There's a lot of people in that story.
There is.
My favorite was Hayfoot. I enjoyed Hayfoot.
Hayfoot's the best.
Yeah.
I really wish that we knew his actual name instead
I'd
of
take
his.
that back. My favorite is the Old Hill Woman. Because how is that your moniker?
She just wanted to cure her nephew of his epilepsy.
Did it work? We should find that out.
That is never
That's my
mentioned.
question.
And she never comes back either. She's just like, she traipses
took it.
in and she's like, dude, totally useful skull. I'm going to take this. Thanks.
That's what I was going to ask. You said Old Hill Woman. Like, I'm imagining a 90-year-old woman pushing a shopping cart just down this road.
In
And it's like-
1818.
Yeah. Well,
Pushing this shopping cart.
She's got a Kroger shopping cart. And she's just... Well, no, Target. Targets are better. And she's walking along and
No,
she
they're
sees the
not. They're
skull.
plastic and bright red.
But it's like-
she would stick out on the trace and she'd get robbed herself.
You know those people at the store that just like grab the display and
Yeah.
take it up to the register and they're like, no, ma'am, this isn't for sale. And it's always like a 90-year-old woman. That's what happened. She grabbed the skull, took it with her, and people were like, no, that's Big Harp's. And she didn't hear him. She's 90. And she kept walking.
She's like, I'm gonna grind this shit up. I'm gonna cure
Yeah.
that epilepsy.
Okay. I know that's what happened now.
And how was she known as a witch in the area?
Yeah, nobody knows that. Her name was Old Hill Woman. Nobody fucking knew she was a witch.
I bet it was like Tabitha or something. She had a name, and they were just like, "Oh, Old Hill Woman, come fix me." And she's like, "Guys, my name's Tabitha. Come on." Poor Hill Woman.
Poor Hill Woman. Mm-hmm. I agree. She was my favorite. I enjoyed her. Big Harp sounds like a dick.
He was a dick. How
Fuck
can
that
you be
guy.
that way?
Yeah, I agree. What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm a little drunk. How are you?
Think I'm with you there. Okay, everyone, with that in mind, everybody out there in podcast land, if you've got a drink in your hand, raise it up. If you don't have a drink, grasp your imaginary goblet and hoist it to the sky. Tonight we toast hovering wieners everywhere and Witch Dance, Mississippi.
Pascagoula is a fun name to say, but aliens abduct their fishermen. Witches dance in the Natchez clay. Don't tread there, or ghosts will start whispering.
Oh, they're whispering. I think they're removing heads and shit. Did y'all hear a clinky?
Okay, so whispering and fishermen aren't quite the best rhymes,
Hey,
but it works.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
It was a good rhyme. Mm-hmm. Thank y'all so much for listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on iTunes. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Southern Spirits Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at S Spirits Podcast. And if you've got suggestions for future show topics or have a personal story, or if you know of any good alcohols around your area, please email us at southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next episode.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye.